I never imagined I would be writing something like this, but life has a way of forcing honesty when betrayal cuts too deep to ignore. My name is Daniel. I'm 39, and until recently, I thought I had built a life with a woman who would never abandon me. Her name was Emily. We were married for 12 years. On the surface, we seemed ordinary but stable. We laughed together, argued occasionally, shared responsibilities, and planned trips. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt steady. Or at least, that's what I believed. It started in subtle ways, the kind of things you tell yourself aren't worth noticing. She would glance at her phone at the dinner table when she thought I wasn't looking, or spend longer hours at work with vague explanations about her projects. There was an unfamiliar perfume clinging to her coat, a scent she hadn't worn before, or perhaps reapplied on her way home. I brushed it off, convincing myself I was imagining things. We had a life together, history, trust, a home built with our own hands. Why would she risk that? But suspicion, once it takes root, becomes impossible to ignore. The moment that shattered me happened on a seemingly ordinary afternoon. I had taken a day off unexpectedly, and decided to stop at the small cafe downtown. The one we used to frequent on lazy Sundays. I wanted to surprise her, maybe bring her favorite latte. As I entered, my heart stopped. There she was, sitting in a corner booth across from a man I had never met. Their bodies leaned toward each other, their laughter spilling freely in a way that made my chest tighten. She reached across the table, touching his hand with a tenderness I had only ever expected from me. That simple gesture struck deeper than any argument or accusation ever could. She didn't notice me standing there, my heart pounding, throat dry, feeling completely invisible for the first time in over a decade. I felt a surge of anger, but confrontation in the cafe wouldn't have served me. I didn't want excuses, lies, or rehearsed apologies. I wanted clarity, and I wanted it on my terms. That night, I sat at the kitchen table, alone, a blank sheet of paper before me. I didn't draft paragraphs filled with grievances, or recount every moment of humiliation and doubt. I wrote a single line. Don't come home. I placed it neatly on her pillow and packed a small bag, only the essentials for a few days, and left. I didn't cry, didn't shout. There was a strange calm, as though the storm had already passed and left only ruins behind. Driving to a motel on the outskirts of town, I reflected on all the times I had trusted her completely. The dinners I prepared, the late-night conversations, the promises whispered in vulnerable moments. All of it had been cheapened by a smile across a cafe table with someone whose name I didn't even know. Yet beneath the hurt, I felt relief. For months, I had sensed a gap between us, something slipping beyond my reach. Now I understood why. The uncertainty vanished, replaced by the harsh but undeniable truth. By the next morning her calls began, tentative at first, then desperate. Messages flooded my phone. Where are you? Why did you leave? Please talk to me. She pleaded for a chance to explain. But explanations, I had learned, were often just another form of deception. When she finally arrived at the motel 2 days later, tear-stained and frantic, I had to decide if my note was a moment of rage or a declaration of finality. She appeared smaller than ever, her usually polished hair in disarray, makeup smudged, clutching her phone as if it could save her. Daniel, please, she whispered. You don't understand. It's not what you think. But it was exactly what I thought. I let her inside, not for her explanations but to see if any honesty remained in her. She perched on the bed, wringing her hands, weaving a story about a coworker, a project, a joke taken out of context, gestures misread. Yet betrayal is not just physical, it is emotional, and the way she had looked at that man was not professional. It was intimate, the same way she once looked at me. Stop lying, I said quietly. You don't touch a coworker like that. You don't smile at them as if they are your entire world. Her silence spoke louder than any protestations. Tears streamed down her face as she reached for me. I made a mistake, she begged. But I still love you. Don't throw away 12 years. I stepped back. You threw it away the moment you shared pieces of yourself with someone else. You didn't just betray me, you erased us. The room fell silent, save for her quiet sobs. She offered forgiveness, another chance, therapy, anything to avoid the finality of that note. But something within me had changed. I thought of the man I had been in our marriage. Always giving, always holding everything together. In the cafe, I realized the woman I loved no longer existed. Or perhaps never had. When she finally left the motel that night, she took the last remnants of our marriage with her. The weeks that followed blurred into lawyer meetings, paperwork, and difficult conversations with friends and family. Some urged reconciliation, others applauded my decision. But their opinions mattered little. For the first time in years, I wasn't questioning myself. The doubt, the gnawing insecurity of never being enough had vanished. Betrayal had burned away illusions, leaving me raw, but free. Weeks later, I returned to the cafe. I sat in the very booth where I had seen her with him. The seat across from me was empty, and for the first time, I didn't feel bitterness. Instead, I felt gratitude for the clarity that pain had delivered. Emily called occasionally, her messages moving from sorrow to anger to silence. I didn't respond. I had no words for missing her, nor for hate. Only acceptance remained. Betrayal changes everything. It breaks the world you thought you knew. But it also forces you to rebuild, to choose who you will become from the scattered pieces. I chose peace over chaos, truth over comfort, and self-respect over empty promises. That single line, "Don't come home," wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of reclaiming my life.